It's always fun to see properties that, maybe have been vacated for a long time and get redeveloped, reused, kind of like the Kmart last year that, well, over the last 3 years got basically raised, torn down, rebuilt, and now there's a new King Supers because it just spurs other activity. A local investor, the Rue brothers, bought kind of the old Mulligans, Mountain Mist spas, and redeveloping those buildings to bring in new tenants and new attractions. So it's exciting when a place like the Albertsons on North College is was purchased by the URA, Urban Renewal Authority, for the purposes of kind of like, let's change this from a blight to a resource and asset for the community. And there's going to be a temporary use for kind of event space, activities, things outdoors. So, and then long term, there will be a community use for that specific space. So exciting to see this happening. This is live in Fort Collins. We come to you live every week, Tuesday at noon. Tonight, we are going live at 6:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time to talk about the real estate market, look at the data from January, what's going on in February and moving forward. If you have any questions, feel free to ask live or on a rerun, and I will make sure to get that to you. Jumping next into the Northern Colorado Regional Airport. We had the director of the airport on our podcast, and he talked about 3 things that needed to happen for us to get consistent commercial airlines. 1, a new terminal. We built a $22 million terminal just over the last year. I think it opened up in 2025. Widening of the runway to allow for 737s and more commercial type sized airlines. That project was put out for bid. That was set to take place. It was going to shut down the runway for 161 days. And the current users of that airport, because there's actually, Nutrien, Bohemian Foundations, Martin Lind and his companies, there are people who use that frequently. And with it being shut down, there's also private jet schools. There's concern that those people might find alternative options and not come back. So they're trying to figure out what alternative options are for this widening of the runway. Because once that's done, then the final piece of the puzzle, which is whether it's a physical or a virtual tower, will allow for commercial airlines to return to Fort Collins in Northern Colorado. Again, per the director of the airport, one of the biggest untapped assets in Northern Colorado. And I couldn't agree more. I think selfishly would love to see that, especially if they got trips to Scottsdale, Las Vegas, little warm places to get away in the winter. It's like 12 minutes from my doorstep to the parking lot. And speaking about parking lot, we're going to get to that here in just a second as well. Actually, let's just jump right into that. Landline is going to open up a 700 space parking lot at the Northern Colorado Airport. Currently, let's say for my family, when they come in, we pick them up at the Harmony Transit Center, and they take either Landline. I think they were taking Landline, Green Ride, but Landline's kind of the big dog in the market now. Now you will be picked up at the Northern Colorado Airport. You have a free parking for up to 3 weeks there, and they will take you from there down to DIA. Again, really pretty close to where we're at. You can park your car there for free. The shuttle is like $20 to $30 per passenger. Very affordable. A super convenient way to get down to DIA and have now a free parking spot in Fort Collins. Lamar County and Colorado are considering new standards for data centers. We had at an open house, we had a potential client come through, and they were going to live in Fort Collins because they were going to be building a data center down in Cheyenne. These things are gargantuan. They are massive. They take up a massive amount of electrical power, like as much as like little cities or even bigger cities. And Lamar County is seeing applications for data centers coming in, and they're saying, hey, let's put a pause, 30 days that can be extended up to 6 months so that we can understand and make kind of rules and regulations around these developments, because they take a lot of water, a lot of electric power. And so we've got to make sure that we're not, saying, hey, yeah, we'd love for you to come in and bring this big development infrastructure, but then suck all the power from our, surrounding communities. So I'm interested to see kind of where that goes. But I mean, man, they're huge. Fort Collins Food Co-op closed their location on Mountain Avenue January 29th and are planning to open up what was the old Beavers Market mid-February. It'll double their space. It is a co-op, so you can buy in as a membership, get discounted rates. Excited to see a local company, the Fort Collins Food Co-op, take over that location, and really hope that stays a strong staple grocery in that neighborhood community of Mountain and Shields. Some unfortunate news, the West Elizabeth Transit Corridor federal funding of about $10 million was pulled, and this was pulled from the U.S. Department of Transportation, $10.7 million. This is going to be about $100 million build out of the West Elizabeth corridor. That is one of the heaviest trafficked, heaviest used public transportation corridors in Fort Collins. So definitely kind of sad to see that happen. They're going to explore alternative funding options, but this was one of those federal funds that were kind of on the chopping block when federal funds were really getting cut, downsized. So sad to see that happen in Fort Collins, because that's a big project, a lot of jobs, potential future opportunities for that. But that is a $10 million fund. And I think they have already committed a lot of funds to it because they were already like in the development and design phase of this. But at this point, it is on pause indefinitely. Poudre School District graduation rates hit a 15-year high. Fort Collins High School graduation rates hit 90.9%, or excuse me, 89%. Weld County RE4 hit 95.7%, and Thompson School District hit 90.9%. Now I'm going to share a breakdown of the schools here. Let me make sure I'm in a spot so you guys can see the screen as big as you can. Now, Poudre School District, I would say having an 89% graduation rate for as many schools that are in the district is pretty impressive. Because as you can see, it does include alternative schools, charter schools, but it includes quite a few schools in here, comparatively to, the Thompson School District has about half as many, and then the Windsor has, a third as many. So, when you have Severance High School and Windsor High School absolutely crushing it, and then the Windsor Charter Academy greater than 98%, you can see why the district total is as high as it is. So very impressive. But, if you were looking at schools for your kid, or how specific schools are doing, this is a great chart that does that. It was interesting. They said in this article that they included a 4-year graduation rate, 5, 6, and 7 years. So there's some kids, for one reason or another, that are taking 7 years to graduate. But that being said, Fossil Ridge High School, 97.1%, highest graduation rate. In Northern Colorado. Let's go back down there. That was a good chart. Come on. There we go. Fossil Ridge, 97.1%. Timnath, 95.3%. Wellington, 92.8%. Fort Collins High School, 91.1%. Rocky Mountain, 90.6%. Poudre High at 79.3%. So I wanted to share that with you guys, just to kind of have a look through. And then the Thompson School District also, Berthoud High School, 93%. All of these scored really well. Harold Ferguson High School, I'm not sure where that is or what that is, but that is the only school, and that's really bringing down the rest of these schools. So if you remove Harold Ferguson, Thompson School District would be probably closer to 93% versus the 90.9% that's on here. So great job, Thompson School District. Loveland, just in general, this is obviously the Fort Collins Lifestyle YouTube channel, but Loveland is kicking butt, both on the development. We are going there to shoot a new development at Rihanna Ridge today. Centerra South, I-25 US 34, Promenade Shops at Centerra, the Budweiser, or the Blue Arena, the Ranch Events Complex amphitheater. I mean, lots of cool things happening in Loveland, Colorado. So I'm going to give it up to Loveland in this video. Moving right along. Speaking about the Poudre School District, let's see here. The superintendent, Mr. Kingsley, sent out an email to those in the Poudre School District, which my kids are. And as of May of this year, they are going to come up with the criteria that will score schools throughout Fort Collins for consolidation criteria. By 2027, they are going to have a consolidation plan in place, possibly even implemented, to consolidate schools. So by May of this year, they're going to have a consolidation criteria put together. And then by next year, 2027, there will be consolidation of schools. Our enrollment's dropping at about 2% per year. Birth rates, just general trends across the United States, across Colorado. And an empty school does still take a ton of resources. And with the aging population in different neighborhoods and specific schools, it'll definitely be interesting to watch what the criteria is that they come up with. But I'd have to imagine attendance, size of school, kids per class. Those are going to be some of the biggest, in my opinion, that are going to be looked at. But that is happening. If you are interested, stay in touch. There are boards on the board of directors for the education department, and get in touch with them. Let them know what your thoughts are, what you believe. This was a hot topic in 2024, I believe it was, that got punted, and we raised funds to help fund the schools in the interim, but there is going to be a consolidation program in place by 2027. City Council talked about, speaking of, economic development. And it's one of the first times they're really putting a spotlight on economic development, saying, hey, we want tier 1 employers in Fort Collins. We have life and biosciences, clean energy. We want those employers here. And we might have to put together packages to attract them. Sales tax rebates, rebates for development, expedited review fees, expedited review process, reduced review fees. Those are all things that we're going to try to do to attract employers as well as retailers, because we used to have about 75% roughly of the county's or the region's sales tax revenue. We've always had about 50% of the population, but our share of our region's sales tax revenue has dropped to closer to 50%. So in line with our population. But when a city is ran off of sales tax revenue, it's important to make sure that we're staying in front of that. So they are looking at things of how to attract, build new retail, tier 1 employers, for lack of a better word, and try to have an economic push. They haven't had that since 2015 in Fort Collins. So excited to see City Council saying, hey, economy is very important. Building homes are important. Expedited construction review processes are important. So there'll be some things that, we'll be watching that will be exciting to see. Things to do this week in Fort Collins, Northern Colorado. The Women Give 20th Luncheon, United Way of Laramie County, February 5th. And this will be at the Hilton Conference Center. The 4th annual live ice carving to Old Town Square, February 6th, 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. Black History Month short films, February 4th, 6 to 7:30 p.m. at the Colorado State University School of the Arts. Visit Fort Collins Holiday Market, February 7th, 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the Visit Fort Collins Center in 7 Old Town Square. The First Friday Art Walk starting at Edge Optics. Winter Bike to Work Day is next week. 10-day forecast looks pretty decent. They go from 7 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. in the morning shift, 3:30 to 5:30 in the evening shift. Get out, ride your bike, prepare for it next week. The reason why I put it on this week's to-dos is so that you can prepare for it next week. Recreation Registration Day for summer camps, February 5th through the Recreator. beginning at 6 p.m. to 11:59 online, in person, over the phone. Sign up for those summer camps. And then finally, Love and Local Market, February 7th, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. In Loveland. And this is kind of like at the hub at Kinston. Local vendors, music, dueling pianos, definitely things to do. Always the Winter's Farmers Market, tours, brew tours, Vortic watches, lots of different things to do in Fort Collins in Northern Colorado. Also, you got to look at getting your date night secured for February 14th, Valentine's Day. Fort Collins, Northern Colorado is busy now, and it is time to make sure that you are setting those reservations. This is Live in Fort Collins. Appreciate you guys watching. Until next week, have a great day.